Hi everyone, this is Shelly again from Little Bird Yarn Company, and the topic of today's video, excuse me, this phone is balanced on a box of Kleenex. The topic of today's video is learning to spin on a drop spindle. In this video, I'll teach you how to start spinning on a drop spindle by tying on a piece of scrap yarn, how to draft your fiber on the spindle, and how to wind on. I hope you enjoy it. So your first step is you've got your spindle here, nice top whorl spindle with the hook on the top, and it's completely naked. There is no yarn on it, there's no fiber on it. So in order to spin, we actually have to get some yarn on there so that our fiber, our wool fiber, has something to grab a hold of. So what I recommend doing is taking some waste yarn. This is some worsted weight Malabrigo yarn that was left over from a project. Get some waste yarn that is wool rather than acrylic. I think that'll work better. And one where you can take the plies and kind of separate them out apart from each other. That'll help. So you're going to separate the plies on one side, take your other side. This is, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet of yarn. And then take your yarn and just tie a knot at the bottom of your spindle, maybe a couple overhand knots. Sorry, being a little fiddly with this. A couple overhand knots to secure the yarn to your spindle. Got it. It's secured, and then practice that technique again. Wrap it around your hook. Spin. I'm going to spin in a clockwise motion, lower my spindle, lower my spindle, lower my spindle until it stops spinning. Once it stops spinning, I'm going to wind on by just twisting the fiber. And sometimes it likes to slide around instead of winding on directly. So just wind on. There's no necessarily right now, there's no particular way to wind on. Wrap it around, spin, same direction, clockwise, lower it down. Now, this is one of the most tricky parts of spinning, and I'm sorry you're having to do it right at the beginning, making a join. We're going to take our scrap fiber where we have loosened up the plies and pulled them apart so that it kind of looks like kind of crazy hair, actually kind of like my hair. Crazy curly hair, and we're going to join it to some wool fiber. So here is that wool fiber that I had in the last couple of videos. This is that Chevio that I bought. You can get it from the Woolery, you can get it from lots of places. And what we're going to do is connect this yarn to this fiber so that they won't come apart. And we're going to do it exactly the way that I showed you in the last video. The 2 pieces of fiber are going to be connected by twist. So how do you do that? Well, let me show you. I've got these pieces separated again, kind of like crazy curly hair, like my hair. Hook it around, and then I'm going to spin my spindle, try to get a nice even spin, and I spun it so much that there's a lot of twist that has built up in this several inches. It might even spin up so much that it's going to start kinking a little bit. So when you've got a certain amount of twist built up in your yarn, because you've spun it a lot, that twist wants to go somewhere. It wants to go up into the fiber. Well, there's nowhere to go. This is the end of the yarn. So I'm going to attach something for a place for the yarn to go. So I've got my ends, my plies pulled apart. And then I've got my fiber, and I've kind of pulled my fiber apart so it kind of looks like the hair. There's lots and lots and lots of little tiny ends that are just poking out. My spinning teacher called this arms a-wavin'. There's lots of places for these pieces to grab a hold of. I'm going to connect the 2, and then I'm going to let go of my left hand. And as I let go of my left hand, what should happen is that all of that, you saw it, all of that twist that has been stored up in this part of the fiber is going to go up and spread into my Chevio wool. And that is exactly what happened. I was holding all that twist here Once I released my finger, it sent that twist right up here into this wool. Now I can begin to spin. Let me get a little set up. So you got your bit of fiber, just a little bit. You got your spindle, and you're going to basically do the exact same thing you were doing with yarn, except this time you're doing it with fiber. We're going to go one step at a time. We're going to spin the spindle. We're going to wait for it. We're going to spin it as long, and then when it starts to stop, grab it. Grab it, and you can't see that I'm doing this, but I actually stuck it in between my legs, and that's going to keep it from spinning in the opposite direction. So put it right in there in between your legs. Now take your wool fiber. I'm holding the twist. The twist is now stored, just like it was when we were joining. The twist is now stored in this few inches, and I'm going to release the twist into my fiber. So I'm going to pinch it up there. I'm going to start teasing the fibers apart. I'm going to release my left hand, and you see what's happening is the twist is traveling up into my wool fiber. I'm doing two things at once. I am releasing the twist into the fiber. At the same time, I am teasing those fibers apart, and that's spreading the twist up. Once you've done that, you can wind on, hook it around. We're going to do the same thing again. Twist, spin clockwise, spin, spin, spin. Wait till it stops. Grab it before it starts spinning in the other direction. Hold it in between your legs. You can see the top of it's poking out right there. Then hook it over my hook. I'm holding the twist right here. All that twist has gathered up in those few inches. And then I'm going to do two things at once. I'm going to start to release these fingers on my left hand. At the same time, I'm going to be pulling the fibers up to kind of spread them out, tease them apart. So there I go. I can feel there's more twist. So I'm going to pull until I run out of twist. And you'll get a sense when you start to run out of twist. When you start to run out of twist, your fibers will pull apart, but twist won't go into them. So you'll know that right about here, I can see that as I'm continuing to pull the fibers apart, no twist is going into that fiber. So I've run out of twist. Make sure that my fiber is nice and firm. I can pull it on a little bit and wind on. Do the same thing again. Gathering twist in just a few inches, and then release the twist, and the twist is going to get released into my wool fiber. I'm going to tease it out a little bit. Now, a couple things might start to happen. You might get a weak spot. If you start to pull the fibers, they start to come out right here. They start to come loose. What that means is you just haven't stored up enough twist in your fiber. If you don't have twist in your fiber, the fiber doesn't have anything to hold it together, and it'll fall apart. This is going to happen as you're learning. Don't worry about it. There's a couple things that you can do. Thing number one that you can do is if your fibers start to pull apart, like I'm going to try to make an example, like right there, my fibers they're coming apart, but there's not enough twist to hold them together. So there's a couple things you can do. Thing you can do, number one, is just put a lot of twist in there. Oop. Put a lot of twist. The other thing you can do, if your fibers come completely apart and they become disconnected, like your wool supply becomes disconnected from the other part, what do you do then? Well, you're going to do the same thing you did with the waste yarn attaching the fiber. You're going to do a join. So you, again, hook it up. You're going to do the exact same thing you just did. Spin, 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 collecting all that twist in these few inches. Then we've got our arms a-waving, our fibers kind of all over the place like my hair. And we've got our arms a-waving on this side, fibers going all over the place. Connect the two and the twist should go right into that fiber. Remember, the twist is like a magnet. Twist wants to connect to itself. So if you put two untwisted things next to each other, they should connect. So I recommend trying that for a while. It's a really, really slow way to make yarn, but it's a great way to learn spindling. Let it spin. Wait till it stops spinning. If you let it spin too much, it'll start spinning in the other direction. Then tease the fibers apart. You've gathered up all that twist. Oops, I came off my hook. There. And start to release the twist into your fiber as you are pulling up. And start to recognize when you run out of twist. When you run out of twist, the fibers will no longer, there's a car alarm going off. The fibers will no longer be connected because there's nothing for them to hold on to. Do that for a while. I know it is slow. In the next video, I'm going to teach you how to spin on a drop spindle while the spindle is continuing to spin rather than having to park it in between your legs. I look forward to seeing you in that next video. Try this for a while until you get the hang of it. Thank you so much. See you over there. Bye.